I really think every crocheter must know how to crochet this rolled up rows because it is so easy and so versatile. You can make it with thread or you can make it with yarn, you can make it in different colors, and you can use it as a decorative piece for so many projects. For instance, I will be giving these 2 roses to a friend of mine and she will glue them to hair clips and make beautiful hair accessories for her little girl. So here is the symbol chart. There are 3 rows and the starting chain must be a multiple of 3. And depending on how big and full you want to make your rows, you can adjust the amount of starting chains. To make this rows right here, I started with 93 chains, so 93 is a good amount of chains to start with. And then you simply follow the pattern. Over here in the last row, the first shell is made of 3 chains, which count as first double crochet, and then 8 double crochets. And could be difficult to count the stitches over here, that's why I wrote the numbers on the top. So on the first one it's starting chain 3 and 8 double crochets, and in the following ones it's 9 double crochets. So I start with 93 chains. Here I have 93 chains, and now into the 6th chain from the hook I work a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this already counts as my first V-stitch. So 3 skipped chains over here count as a double crochet, then 2 chains count as chain 2 space, and then a double crochet. So this is the first V-stitch. Next I skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and into the next chain I work a V-stitch again. So it's a double crochet, then 2 chains, 1, 2, and into the same chain 1 more double crochet. Again I skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and into the next chain a V-stitch. So a double crochet, 2 chains, and a double crochet, and that's it. That's how I'm going to crochet this row. And at the end of the row I have 3 stitches left, so I skip 2 chains and make a V-stitch into the last chain. So the first row is a row of V-stitches. I turn my work, and the next row is going to be a row of shells. First I make a slip stitch into the first chain 2 space. Now 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and these 3 chains count as first double crochet. Now into the same chain 2 space I work a double crochet, then 2 chains and 2 double crochets. 1, 2. So here I have a shell worked into the first V-stitch. Into the next V-stitch I work 2 double crochets, 1, 2, then 2 chains, 1, 2, and 2 more double crochets, 1, 2. So now I have 2 shells worked into V-stitches. Into the next V-stitch again I work a shell, so 2 double crochets, then 2 chains and 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and so on. That's how I'm going to continue crocheting this row. And I ended with a shell into the last V-stitch. So I start the next row by making a slip stitch to this first chain 2 space. So I make a slip stitch into the first double crochet and then a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. And here I will be working double crochets, but first 3 chains. These 3 chains count as the first double crochet. Now into the same chain 2 space I work 8 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now into the space in between these shells over here, I make a single crochet. Now I will be working into the chain 2 space of the next shell, and here I will work 9 double crochets. 1, here I worked 9 double crochets, and again into the space in between these shells, right here, a single crochet. And into the next chain 2 space, again 9 double crochets, and then a single crochet. And that's how I'm going to continue crocheting this row. And here I made the last petal. You can see that this piece is very ruffled, which is good. So now I will fasten off, hide these thread tails, and then I'll show you how to roll the rows and stitch it together. To stitch my rows together, I'm using a regular sewing needle and the same thread, but if you are making your rows with yarn, you might need to use a tapestry needle. So first I'm going to secure the thread tail or thread end over here by making a few stitches. And now I'm going to make a small bud by folding the rows like this and making a stitch through it like this. Now I roll a bit more like this, and again I make a stitch through it. So at the moment I'm making these stitches through that second row, the row of shells. Again, I roll a bit more like this and make a stitch through. I roll a bit more and make a stitch through. And at this point that I now have a small bud in the middle of the rows, I'm gonna turn this way, and this is how I'm going to fold the rows, like this. And as I do that, I make the stitches over here now. And I roll some more. And make the stitches. This is what it looks like on this side. So I keep rolling and making the stitches. And I should look on the right side of the rows from time to time to make sure it's folding, rolling nicely, and the petals are arranged the way I want them to be arranged. And that's how I continue rolling the rows and stitching it together. And here I'm almost done, so I'm going to stitch the very last petal right here. I'm also going to make a few stitches over here along this edge to secure this last petal. Like this. And here I make a few more stitches to secure the thread tail, and now I can cut it off. And here they are, beautiful crochet roses. The chart for the vine doesn't look so pretty and it's probably a bit confusing, so I'm going to explain it to my best ability, but if something doesn't make sense, you can refer to the video instructions. So you start crocheting it at the bottom and you start either with 13 or 23 chains. So for this one over here, I started with 23 chains. For the one that I'm gonna make for the video instructions, I will start with 13 chains to have this tail shorter. That really depends on what you're gonna use your finished vine for. So once you make 13 chains, then into the fourth chain from the hook, you make a slip stitch to form a ring. Next, you will be working into that ring. You work a single crochet, half a double crochet, 5 double crochets, half a double crochet, and a single crochet. And then you make a slip stitch into the chain over here again, so that you can continue crocheting this way. So I put these arrows here to indicate the direction of the crochet. So you continue crocheting here, and again you make 13 chains. You join with a slip stitch into the fourth chain from the hook, so these 3 chains will give you a small ring, and into that ring you will work a single crochet, half a double crochet, 5 double crochets, half a double crochet, and a single crochet. And then you continue again, and you can go on as long as you want to make your vine. For the last one over here, you're gonna do the same thing, and then you will start slip stitching into each chain to get to the middle over here. So you're going to slip stitch over here into the next 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and then you make 3 chains and you slip stitch into the next chain over here, so that you have a small ring formed by these 3 chains. And into that ring you work the same thing: single crochet, half a double crochet, 5 double crochets, half a double crochet, single crochet. And then you continue slip stitching over here all the way past this leaf, all the way over here. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 slip stitches. And then again you form a ring with 3 chains, join with a slip stitch, and work the same thing. And then you will slip stitch to the very first chain, and your vine will be finished. I start with 13 chains, and now into the fourth chain from the hook I make a slip stitch, and this gives me a small ring. So I turn my work this way so the chain goes to the right, and now I will be crocheting into this small ring. So first I work a single crochet, next half a double crochet, next 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now half a double crochet and a single crochet. Okay, and the first leaf is made. Into the chain over here I make a slip stitch, and now I continue chaining. So I work 13 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And again into the first chain from the hook, a slip stitch. I turn my work, and now into the ring I work a single crochet, half a double crochet, 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now half a double crochet and a single crochet, and into the very first chain over here I make a slip stitch. So here I have 2 leaves are already worked, and I do the same thing. 13 chains, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, into the first chain from the hook, a slip stitch, make a small ring, into the ring I work a single crochet, half a double crochet, then 5 double crochets, half a double crochet and a single crochet. Here I worked all those stitches, and that's how I continue crocheting. So here I made a total of 6 leaves, and that's enough for my vine. So now I'm going to start slip stitching this way. So into the next 4 chains I make a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I make 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and into this same chain where I already made a slip stitch, I made a slip stitch again. So I have a small ring again. I turn my work this way so I can comfortably crochet into that tiny ring, and into the ring I work a single crochet, half a double crochet, 5 double crochets, half a double crochet and a single crochet. So the same sequence as before. Here I work those stitches, and now into the same chain where I made a slip stitch to form a ring, I make a slip stitch again. And now I continue slip stitching into each one of these chains all the way over here. So into the next chain I make a slip stitch, and then again a slip stitch, and again a slip stitch, and into the next chain a slip stitch. So from this leaf I make a slip stitch into the next 4 chains. So 2, 3, and 4. And now over here I will crochet a leaf again. So I make 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, make a slip stitch again into the same chain. I formed a ring, and now into the ring I will work the same sequence again. And that's how I'm going to continue crocheting along this side of the vine. So here I crocheted the leaves on the other side of the vine. I have a few chains here left, and I'm going to slip stitch into each one of them. Here I did just that, and now I'm going to cut off the thread tail, and I left a pretty long tail so that I can use this thread tail for stitching or attaching the vine to the rose. So that's how you make these lovely vines, and you can make them as long as you wish, and you can make as many as you wish.